What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. Of course, we know that Anthony Joshua was ordered by the WBO to make a fight with Alexander Usyk within 180 days. Okay, that is not new news. The new news is Anthony Joshua and how he reacts to the news. Okay, and he simply said, let's rock and roll. No problem. Business as usual. Anthony Joshua knows that he has to defend the titles. This is a mandatory. This is not up for discussion. He either can go the route of the WBO or he has to face the IBF challenger or mandatory challenger, Kubrat Pulev. Okay, so the thing is, the WBO looks like they're putting the smack down. The IBF, we really don't know as of yet what's going to happen with that, but it's the inevitable. Okay, he either has to fight for the IBF or the WBO unless they can come to some agreement. Okay, now the WBO, I believe Team Usyk is putting heat and pressure on the WBO to make this mandatory stick and to push this mandatory, which is a smart thing because Alexander Usyk deserves his title shot. Okay, because of the rematch clause that Anthony Joshua had with Andy Ruiz, pushed this back a while. So people need to understand that this is the reason for the urgency for the WBO, for Team Usyk to have their opportunity, because Usyk cleaned out the cruiserweight division. Backstory. Okay, so Joshua has no problem with fighting the IBO. My thing is, if it was up to me, I would go after Kubrat Pulev. Why? Because Kubrat Pulev is the IBF. Okay, the IBF, they do not play. They will strip you if that challenger goes to the IBF and tells them, hey, they are not abiding by these guidelines, this particular date, they will strip you. No ifs, ands, or buts. Ask Gennady Golovkin about that, because Deverenchenko did that to him, okay? And that should show you they don't play around. They have had a reputation. Really, I think the IBF has had a reputation of being the most stringent upon challengers and mandatories, and giving that challenger his just due, okay? And I really think all of them should be like that. Sometimes, it's kind of a little strict because I think they need to understand that Anthony Joshua has 3 of those belts. They're not stupid. They don't, out of sight is not out of mind in boxing. It shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Because they know this guy retained the belts. They know he's had those belts for quite some time until recently, and he just got them back. Nonetheless, the belts were required, or should I say acquired, by someone. So if one guy has multiple belts, it's like, I think these guys should be collaborating together, because they know, okay, this guy is paying sanctioning fees to all these different belts, to these sanctioning bodies, right? So we know this guy has the belt. So they know the WBO and the IBF are coming for the same mandatory spot. That's basically using common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, he has to fight for the WBO. And the reason he hasn't done that because the IBF is also saying the same thing. So why don't those two come together to some agreement to understand, like, okay, well, he can't do 2 things at one time. If you want to be a dick about it, sure, go ahead and relinquish the title and strip him of the title. But then don't say you didn't know. And because these sanctioning bodies, I guess, except the WBA and the WBC, they they collab together, pretty well. But, as far as the WBO and the IBF, that remains to be seen, knowing that one guy holds both belts, both titles. So, but if it was up to me, I would still go after Pulev for another reason. The other reason is Kubrat Pulev is an ESPN fighter. He needs to make him an offer, take him out if he can, so you will have that belt. The WBO really isn't going anywhere. Why? Because Eddie Hearn works closely with Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk is a DAZN matchroom fighter, okay? So that's a fight that can easily be made. And I would like to see, on top of that, Alexander Usyk fight someone else besides the top 3 guys. You know what I mean? Like, For him just fighting Joshua after fighting Chaz Witherspoon is not really enough for me. I think I would want to see him in with another test. Okay, he got his feet wet. Now it's time to take a swim in the pond, you know. And I think it should be Derek Chisora should be a good guy to face because, you know, again, I would like to see how Usyk deals with a big, strong heavyweight, you know. Because if he goes in there and he gets hit by Joshua and he had the same reaction that Povetkin has and that really hurts him and he takes him out, what's people are going to say? He wasn't ready for the division. You know what I mean? We have to see what he can do with somebody that is, I can't say less dangerous because Chisora is a dangerous person. After all, we are in the heavyweight division. So, you know, I would like to see him fight someone else, though. You know what I mean? See what he can do in the heavyweight division before going for 3 titles. You know what I'm saying? Or 2 titles or whatever. You know, if, you know, in case the IBF does strip him because he decides to go with the WBO. So I think, you know, it's no problem with Joshua. Joshua's a no nonsense. He doesn't really like to put too much emotions out there. You know what I mean? The same way he responds to a lot of people. Let's roll. In this case, let's rock and roll. No problem. You know what I mean? But I know it is an easier fight to make because, you know, Eddie Hearn does co-promote Alexander Usyk also. But then I think it would be in the best interest for Joshua to keep the IBF so that belt won't go astray. Because what happens if Kubrat Pulev is if they strip Joshua in the IBF, then that means that Pulev would either have to fight that person for that belt or he gets that belt, you know, granted to him. I would prefer these guys, him fighting someone else for that particular title belt, but he loses it. So that means the road to undisputed gets that much harder because now those belts are in control of a network called ESPN. And how many people do you really have over there? Now, if Fury beats Deontay, he could fight Pulev for that belt. You know, so then he'll have the WBC, then the IBF. We could go that way. Then he beats Pulev. Now he has both belts. Now Joshua has both belts. That's if he gets past Alexander Usyk, right? So then we have one champion. If Fury beats those two, and Joshua can get past Alexander Usyk, right? These guys can fight. These guys can fight each other 2-2, right? So then we would have still an undisputed bout. Now, it could go that way, but this, again, is the heavyweight division. So we can see what happens when it does happen. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.